Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. You know, a wise businessman once told me, fail fast. Do not hold on to what's not working. So, this Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving project was a failed project. Once you moved off of Irv, there was no reason to hold on to KD. None whatsoever. The plan with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving when they got to Brooklyn was to win the NBA championship. And this unit was built entirely around them. Entirely around them. From moving off of D'Angelo Russell to bring in Kevin Durant in a sign and trade. To bringing in the head coach in Steve Nash. To trading for James Harden and giving up 6 first-round picks. To trading James Harden for Ben Simmons. All of this stuff, all of these moves were built around Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And the result was the goal was to win the NBA championship. That was the plan. And it didn't work. Once you got rid of the piece of Kyrie Irving, you had to get rid of the piece of Kevin Durant. This isn't a situation with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2004 once they got off of Shaq. Because Kobe Bryant was 24 years old. And he was young enough that we can build this unit around him. We still had a young enough star that we can build this entire unit around him. This isn't the case in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant will be 35 years old in September. Not only is he an aging star, he's consistently breaking down. If you go back, we've already gone over his injury history. In 2020, in the beginning of the 1920 season, he missed the entire season because he's recovering from an Achilles rupture. The 2021 season, he has a hamstring injury, misses half the season. Last season, he's got an MCL sprain, misses 2 months. This season, he has an MCL sprain, misses 2 months again. So he's on the other side of who he used to be. Now, is his game on the other side? No, he still has the goods, but he's starting to break down. So because he's starting to break down, you look at this unit, the way it's presently constructed. Spencer Dinwiddie, Finney Smith, Kevin Durant, Royce O'Neal, Claxton, Curry, TJ Warren, Wannabe, Ben Simmons. Just to name guys. Can you win the Eastern Conference Championship with that unit? Because if they won in the first round, they would have to see Philly, Milwaukee, or Boston in the second round, and I don't think they're better than any of those teams. And because they're not better than any of those teams, that means they can't win the Eastern Conference. So why are we holding on to Kevin Durant? Because what was the goal? The goal was to win the NBA championship. That was the goal. So now moving off of Kevin Durant, number one, you lower your tax bill. So now you have money to play with. Number two, you get those draft picks back. From today until 2029. So that's set over the next 7 drafts. They got 9 ones. So we get our picks back that we gave Houston. We get our picks back that we gave Philadelphia. And now we can build this thing. One of the things that I found out, especially being born and raised in the Northeast, contrary to popular belief of the Northeast being a tough place to play, which it is, no doubt about that. One thing that I found out about being in the Northeast is if you're honest with those people, they'll get behind you. And if that Brooklyn Nets team, like the Knicks did in the mid-'80s, when they built that unit around a franchise player, we got a franchise player in Patrick Ewing, and we're building this thing around him. Same logic with the Brooklyn Nets. All of those draft picks, all of that money, we have to get ourselves a foundation. Who is our franchise player? Every team that's viable Whether it's a championship team, whether it's a championship contender, every one of these teams have one thing in common. They got a franchise player. They have a guy who, this unit is built around this guy. And with this unit being built around this guy, that means that we have a foundation. When you're building it through the draft, the people will get behind you if you're not selling false hope. So when the Golden State Warriors draft Steph Curry, this is the guy we building this unit around. Then they draft Klay Thompson. They draft Harrison Barnes. They draft Draymond Green. Then they make a trade. They get Andre Iguodala in free agency. They get Sean Livingston in free agency. So, but they're ultimately building this unit around Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's who they're building this unit around. The Boston Celtics, when Danny Ainge basically backed up the Brinks truck, and not even backed up the Brinks truck, I'll take that back. When Danny Ainge robbed the Brooklyn Nets of all their picks in the early 2010s, when he handed over an aging Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. And he got all of those first round picks, which turned into Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. So we're building our unit. This is our foundation right here. And the people in New York will get behind you if you make that clear. There is no quick fix here. We're going to build our unit behind this guy. And I think that the Knicks have some young pieces. I love Cam Thomas. I felt like he was wasting away on that bench in Brooklyn. This is a guy who, he's the only freshman since Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. He's the only freshman in SEC history since Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf to lead the SEC in scoring and to be in the top 5 in the country as a freshman in the SEC in scoring. He's the only one to do that since Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, and that was 34 years ago. So he's buckets. There's no question about it that he's buckets. Him dropping to 27th is a gem for Brooklyn. He's a piece that they can build around. I don't think Ben Simmons wants to play basketball anymore. So I think that one of two things has to happen here. I think that you either are stuck with him or you have to eat his deal, because he has no trade value at that price. He's in year 2 of a max deal. He's in year 2. So he's still got, in addition to this year, he's still got 2 more years left on that deal at, I believe, $37 and $40 million. He has no trade value right now. So you are stuck with him. Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges. These are dirty work guys. What we have to now get is a franchise player. And the way you get that in the NBA is with bread. You do. And you got to have smart people in the front office to draft, not only to draft, but to also make smart moves. Because with Phoenix now getting off of Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and Cam Johnson, this looks good on paper with Kevin Durant and Book and Ayton and Chris Paul. This looks great on paper. Here's the problem, though. The problem is where's your dirty work guys? Where's Marcus Smart at? Where's Udonis Haslem? Right? Where's Horace Grant? Where's AC Green at? Where's that guy? Because you're going to need him in order to win. Because if you think that you're just going to outscore everybody because you got a lot of offensive firepower with Book, with Kevin Durant, with DeAndre Ayton, with Chris Paul, that's great. Where are your dirty work guys? That's where there's going to be a problem. That's where a huge problem is going to lie. So I'm not ready to just crown the Phoenix Suns as the NBA champions. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. But I applaud Brooklyn for salvaging this and recognizing that we got to start over. So in addition to getting their picks back, we also saved, I believe, 60. With the Kyrie Irving deal, my math counted at 117 million, which was their tax bill. With now getting Kevin Durant off the table, that drops to like 36 million. So now you lower your payroll and you lower your tax bill, which means that we now have money to play with. But I think that there is no quick fix, and we have to, I repeat, we have to build this through the draft, and we got to develop these guys. Now, I know the logic that, this general manager isn't going to last long, this coach isn't going to last long. That's part of it. That's part of it. You may be a general manager who won't be able to see this whole thing through. But if you build this thing where it becomes something, you're setting yourself up for the next job. That's what you're doing. You're setting yourself up for the next big payday. And somebody that's going to give you even more time. Because when I look at this Brooklyn team, they're not a playoff team, but they got a bunch of young players, a bunch of viable young players. They just got to get that franchise guy that they don't have. And that's where GMing comes in. And I don't mean GMing with, we're going to sign the next big thing. You already did that. You did that with Kevin Durant. You did that with Kyrie Irving. We're not doing that again. No. We already did that, and we're not doing it again. So, where does this leave Brooklyn now? Like I just said, you're starting over, which I think is fantastic. Where does this leave Phoenix? It remains to be seen. Because on paper, it looks fantastic. On paper, it looks great. The question is, how is this going to turn out? Kevin Durant's aging. In the process of Kevin Durant aging, I think this Phoenix team, they have a different style of play. But Kevin Durant's game won't be affected by that. Because Kevin Durant, he has the kind of game that travels. I'm nice everywhere. It doesn't make a difference where you put me. I'm buckets. That's who I am. I'm not like Giannis. I'm not like James, where the system has to revolve around me. No, I have a specific skill set that my game travels. So from Brooklyn to Boston, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, I fit anywhere. And the reason why I fit anywhere is because, again, my game travels. I'm buckets. So I think he'll be successful there in terms of his game. But what is he going to Brooklyn? What is he going to Phoenix for? He's going to Phoenix in order to win. That's what he's going to Phoenix for. He's not going to Phoenix for any other reason. It's not for buckets. It's not for numbers. Because, again, he could have stayed in Golden State for that. They would have paid him, and they would have kept winning. He could have stayed in Oklahoma City for that. They would have paid him, and they would have kept being contenders, and they would have kept being competitive. So there's no question about that. So now the question is how is this thing going to look in Phoenix, and what is it going to turn into? What is it going to turn into? Ultimately, I like what I'm seeing here. The trade with the Lakers, it doesn't move the needle for me. I think it's a Band-Aid more than anything, because these two guys in Vanderbilt and Beasley, they're dirty work guys, but do they make the Lakers a legit playoff team? I don't think so. I don't think Russ plays 1 minute in Utah. I think that the Los Angeles Clippers, word is they're going to move off of John Wall, and the Los Angeles Clippers may be a real option for Russell Westbrook. I think he's better than John Wall. Russ is going to throw the ball in the second row. Russ is going to miss layups. That's who Russ is. But Russ is also an offensive force. He is one of the better passers in the game. He is one of the better transition guards in the game. And Russ is one of those guys that you got to turn loose. You have to. You have to turn him loose. So I can see him with the Clippers. And I can see this working too. For them winning the NBA championship, I don't know about that. But I can see this working. Sure. I could absolutely see this working. But today is the trade deadline, and there's going to be more fireworks. There's definitely going to be more fireworks, and I'm here for it, guys. We are in the middle of basketball season. This is the best part of the year. The trade deadline is today. I will be around. You can catch me tonight on Fluent and Chill, me and my man Tone and Playmaker Haley. We're gonna chop this up. So you know where to find me at. Until then, take it light, but take it.